Hey everyone, thank you for stopping by. We have an amazing show planned for you all. First things first though, if you notice it's not too purple hazy, I may have to push back my show by about 20 to 30 minutes, so please let me know because there's just too much sun coming through and I can't block it all out. So let me know if you still want the purple haze coming through. But with that said, as you can see in the title, super special guest. You know, he needs no introduction to the community as he is definitely a pillar to the community. But before I introduce him and, you know, say everything, I kind of want him to kind of introduce himself because I'm going to be asking him all sorts of questions, having y'all kind of know who the person is behind the gamer, behind the streamer. And with no further ado, SVG, Stadia Pro Gaming, how are you?
Hey, I'm doing great. How are you?
I'm always excited to talk to like people I really consider friends in the community and to just spend time with the community. So thank you for, you know, agreeing to do this. Thank you just for all the mentorship you provided me in my streaming journey. So yeah, just a big thank you for all that. But you know, this is a gaming. We met each other through gaming, so I have always start off with the same first question. Well, it's what I've been doing recently. What are you currently playing?
What am I currently playing? Well, I've been playing Kingdom Come Deliverance for probably 80 days. Like it's like straight as in hours. So a whole lot of Kingdom Come Deliverance. But I've been playing a whole lot of Baldur's Gate 3 on Stadia as well. Oh man, it's a lot of Wreckfest, doing some PUBG, shooting Ray.
Oh my gosh, you and Ray, I love the combination you all have. And you know, before we get too deep, you know, shout out to Stadia Cloud, Stadia Game. I'm looking at so many words. Cloud Gaming Dad, Mr. Underworld, Ambi, Pete Cloud Gaming, aka Sanchez, Sierra Rose, Miss SVG. We actually have a little segment. We're going to be talking about you in a second. Shout out to all of you all for coming out and supporting, and for just Jeff. Also, shout out from Canada. You know, so thank you all for coming by. Hopefully this is just a time for us, you know, as a community, come together and strengthen those bonds by just learning a little bit more about each other. So again, thank you, muchas gracias, and merci beaucoup. And so, SVG, you're playing a little Baldur's Gate, you're playing a little Kingdom Come, right?
Yep.
Where did your gaming journey begin, though? Because those weren't there when you first started. So let us kind of give a sneak peek. Or
okay, I'll let you look behind the curtain a little bit. Yeah. My first gaming experience was on a ColecoVision, and the game was called Illusions. I didn't know what a controller was, didn't know what a console was. All I knew is, you know, somebody handed it to me, and they were trying to, you know, keep me occupied, and it sure did. Didn't understand the game. Way later in life, I went back and looked at it, and you're these little tiny blobs that are bouncing around the screen, and you're supposed to get them all to merge. It's a very weird game. But I fell in love with gaming. My godfather, Mike Tribbett, he was heavy into PC gaming, and we're talking like I've got 256 meg, like old PC gaming,
Yes.
So I checked out a lot of those games, but I really didn't get to have a console of my own until we got an Atari when I was a kid, and I was so excited to get that thing. And we got Pitfall, and it was the 7800. So we got Pitfall, and I believe we got the Empire Strikes Back video game. And we got it home, and it was so late, us kids had to go to bed. But my older brother Chris stayed up with my cousin playing it all night long on shag carpet. So there was an electric discharge. It fried it. So the next morning, no Atari.
Oh my God. So what happened? Did you get a new one, or was like no?
We took it back and they replaced it. I mean, they didn't realize it was our fault, I guess, but yeah, they just had it on the shag carpet, and that must have been what happened. Or 8 to 10 hours of playing heated up a solder
Back in that day. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Atari. That was actually my first console as well. It was a tank game. I can't remember. It was like you just like went around and in a circle and shot other tanks. It was actually pretty fun. Maybe I can find it on some emulator. Okay, so you went from Atari. Then what was the next one? Because there's got to be more than that. You know?
Well, we had an Atari for a little while, and then gaming kind of died for a minute. Nintendo got big. We're about to get to that, but
so you lived through the gaming crisis of like 1983.
Kinda, yeah. I mean, I was 3 years old, but I can remember the Atari commercials because like Nintendo didn't start gaining steam here till like 85.
With certified Nintendo, like where they were like branding the games, certified Nintendo.
Yep, and so we had a little lull there, and my grandpa and grandma bought us a computer, and you had to program the games yourself, and it came with a big giant book. And I'm not a coder, neither is my brothers. I was a toddler, I couldn't do it. But my brother Chris, he sat at the computer and typed in ones and zeros and whatever, and had to do it precise to get Pac-Man. And he messed up. Most of it was there. Pac-Man would start to load, but it would crash. But anyway, and then we moved on. My brother Chris worked in the corn detasseling one summer, and he went and bought a Nintendo. And then my gaming really took off.
So you got the Nintendo, and hey, do Games Live. Thank you for joining. Hey Crow as well. So you got the Nintendo. So right now you're a hardcore gamer, right?
Matter of fact, I was a fat kid, and my nickname from my brother Chris was the Sega Buddha. We had Nintendo, okay? We were Nintendo kids, but he called me the Sega Buddha. I guess Sega sounded better with Buddha than Nintendo Buddha, but
Nintendo. Whatever. I think both of them work in a way.
Yeah.
So that's still okay. So Nintendo kid, what was your Nintendo? What? So this is, I think it's super cool when people talk about Nintendo, especially during this time, because Nintendo like saved gaming back in '85, as we just highlighted, and then just made about every single action movie between 1978 and 1992 was a Nintendo game between 1986 and 1991.
I think some of the Nintendo doesn't get enough credit for making a quality product, and every game had to have that stamp and seal
approval.
That you were just referring to. And there was some iffy games on Nintendo. I'm not saying all of them were gems by any means, but to really get it on the platform, you had to have something worthwhile. So definitely Nintendo raised the bar for sure, because that was the problem with Atari. They had just a whole bunch of crap games, and they made too many of them, and it really hurt the market.
There was a bunch. Panasonic had games. Like every basically TV entertainment system started making games. And so it just flooded the market. There was no quality to it.
And Atari, they actually wanted to suppress the developers. They were like, "Oh, you're working on a game? We don't want your name on the box. We don't want them to know you. You're not a rock star. You're a cog in a machine. We don't want people to see you." And they changed that. A whole bunch of people left Atari, made Activision.
Activision, yes, that's how they got
a whole bunch of stuff. So it's an amazing history. It's vibrant. You know,
it,
that's why I love gaming.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of gamers actually understand how close the gaming industry, the video gaming industry, came to not being a thing, just because of that. And shout out to Hutch, as well as Ray. Thank you all for coming by. Certified Doctor. He's not destroying the Stadia community in any number of games right now. Thank you for stopping by as well.
Thank you for stopping your punishment across the Stadia community and joining us, sir.
We need to get him on this channel one day to talk about how he just wrecks everybody in every game. You know, so what game in Nintendo NES, Nintendo Entertainment System, which was your game?
I had a bunch of them, to be honest. And
okay, let's go through them.
And some of them weren't very pleasant when I was a kid, but as I got older, they got easier, or, you know, I understood them. But Bionic Commando, even as a little kid, I loved that game. That's probably my, like if I'm stuck somewhere and I have an emulation and I'm able to play, I will turn on Bionic Commando anywhere. Like, I don't know. It's just my game, man. It was one of those, I think the reason that game made such an impression on me is because, my brother and I completed the game. He did it first because I couldn't beat a certain section. At the very end of the game, after you've beat the last boss, you have to grapple hook and swing down this shaft. And as your 2D guy is falling, you have to shoot at the right time into the helicopter cockpit to kill this like Hitler wannabe. He had a Hitler stash. That's why I called him Hitler wannabe. But anyway, he's literally in the cockpit and he blows up, and that's the end of the game. Well, if you drop and you don't shoot at the right time, or you don't have the rocket launcher equipped to shoot in the cockpit, you land on the ground and the guns just mow you down. So I kept dying there, and my brother beat it. Well, anyway, like this is probably a week before my brother beat it and 2 weeks before I beat it. We were at, it wasn't Walmart, it was Myers, which is exactly like what a Walmart is, but it's a Michigan thing. Anyway, so
how do you spell Myers?
Oh geez, MEIJ.
Oh gosh, Mr. Like Underworld. Oh, there's a thing. Never mind. Just keep going.
Okay. So we went into the store, and we were looking around. My mom was shopping, whatever, and I saw a code book. It was games, tips and tricks, or whatever. And I bought this code book. And I opened it up, and it had the Mike Tyson's, which shout out to Sierra in the chat there. She's mentioning Mike Tyson's Punch Out. I love that game as well. I do play that a lot. But so in this, it had the Mike Tyson's code, which I could have written down, but I really wanted the book. So I'm like, Mom, get it, you know. And in the back of it, it had a section on Bionic Commando. And I was so excited. I took it home. I tried Mike Tyson. He was almost impossible.
Yes, he's just one punch and you're down.
Yeah. Yep, got my butt stomped. And then I read the part on Bionic Commando, and it gives you some tips on Bionic Commando. And then at the end, the guy that wrote the book, they could not get away with it today. They couldn't. But the guy was like, game is not beatable. The Albatross. And he's not talking about the falling down the shaft. The last boss is a ship that goes from side to side on the screen, and you got to grapple hook up and shoot the engine in the corner. Anyway, he didn't know to shoot the engine, apparently, because it said in the book, can't beat the game. There's no ending. And I'm like, I've seen a shaft after that. You know, anyway, so once my brother and I completed Bionic Commando, I took that book to school and was like, I beat that game. I was like, I don't know.
Oh my gosh, that's
I was
so
like, I don't know who wrote. I was like, I don't know who wrote the book, but they're wrong. And it was
you wrote the credits on the game that you should. That would be so amazing if you could get back in touch, if they're still alive, the developer, to be like, I beat your game.
Yeah. Well, it was just the guy wrote a book about a whole bunch of games, tips and tricks, and that was one of them. But he couldn't complete the game, so he thought the game wasn't completable. He thought it was
like a glitch that you just put in.
No, he didn't know how to do it. And I think an editor or whatever, if he put that out online today, he'd be roasted like immediately for getting it so wrong. It's just interesting. But Bionic Commando and Punch Out absolutely
Punch Out
are the two games I can just play.
And would you take Joe, right? That was the guy in Punch Out, right? The little guy.
Last Joe?
Or no, who's
Little Joe?
Your character.
Little Mac.
Mac. Yeah, that's his name, Mac.
Yeah, not Little
So
Joe,
would you
Mac.
take Mac? Would you take Mac and go through all the levels, or would you do the code to go straight to Mike Tyson?
When I was a kid, I would use the codes and stuff, but I mean, I did work through everybody. The hardest ones are Soda Popinski for me, Bald Bull once the second time, Soda Popinski, Bald Bull, depending on what version you're playing, Mr. Dream, which is basically Mike Tyson. But anyway, yeah, I love that game. I play it often, actually.
Wow, no, great time. And I just want to give out a couple of more shout outs. People are coming in, showing all sorts of love. Super Sitzer is here. We also have Ryzak. Just all sorts of great fun people are here. So thank you all for coming by. So you played that, and then did you graduate? Or I shouldn't say graduate. Did you move over to Sega, or did you go to Super Nintendo at this
See, here's the weird, or not weird, but the weird place gaming is today. Back in the day, we'd get on the bus, and I had Nintendo. My buddy had Sega. Another buddy had TurboGrafx 16. We'd get on the bus and we'd argue on whose console was better and stuff, right? And we'd get in heated arguments sometimes on the bus. No, this game trumps that game. But guess what? The weekend we were at each other's houses playing those systems together and having fun.
I love it. Yes.
So it was like strong discourse, but you always got together. There was no us and them. It was just us, and we want more games.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's how it should be. Graphics Gear, great to have you as well. No, I think that's how it should be, where it's cool to maybe talk about logos of a console or something, but at the end of the day, it's about the games that you're playing, and especially now where, like, back then you actually had two different versions of like the same game going to the different consoles. Yes. Right now, maybe you could talk about something different in those games, but
you have no idea how many conversations I had about Sega having blood and Nintendo not on Mortal Kombat, the first one.
Oh my God.
That was a big deal.
I think they made a law. What's up, Lo-Fi? Did not see you there. The host of Cloudy Thoughts has me on as a co-host. Thank you for stopping by. But no, I think this actually went up to Congress.
Yeah.
Do you remember that? I remember that being in the news.
And what's hilarious is that Nintendo thought they did like mothers and families a solid. They were like, hey, we don't have an option to turn the blood on. It's like green sweat or something. It's real weird. They got letters from parents going, no, my kids want me to buy a Sega now. Like, they were upset. Like, so the opposite happened. They thought they were going to make parents happy, and they ended up like the kids weren't happy. So then the parents weren't happy, This is amazing.
I think it's that should have foreshadowed the gaming, what was soon to come. Gamers are never satisfied. You think you can figure it out, but no, they are going to go the other way. What's up, Windstar? How are you? Alumni, Lo-Fi and Windstar alumni of the Shades of Purple show. Thank you all for coming by. So you went to...
So I'm at Nintendo, and I stuck at Nintendo for too long. And the reason that happened is because so the Super Nintendo came out,
right? And
at this time, I don't remember what grade I was in, but our school had us do a pen pal thing. So like 4 or 5 counties over, like I don't know how they designed the districts or whatever, but so we ended up having a pen pal. And I asked my teacher, what am I going to write? I don't know this person. I don't know anything about them. They go, well, write what you like, and maybe they will. And I said, okay. So I wrote a thing about video games. And when we exchanged our letters or whatever, his letter was about video games.
I love this.
Yeah. So it was.
You're my best friend.
Yeah. And it was a grade, like, to be the pen pal and to correspond. Well, anyway, I got an A on that. Let me tell you. So we corresponded and stuff, and then I ended at the end of the thing. And now this is back in the day. I don't think schools could get away with this now, but they took us for a weekend camping trip with our pen pal. And I believe it was Friday night and all day Saturday, and then we went home. But anyway, we hung out, and his name was Tom Fitzgerald. I still know your name. Shout out to Tom. Yeah, so we had a great time talking and everything. And then I started going to his house. So we became real good friends. So that's an interesting story.
Oh my gosh. And one thing we didn't mention, I know you live in North Dakota now. Was this in North Dakota? But so
no.
Okay.
So I lived in Michigan my whole life.
Michigan. Okay.
Yep. The mitten on the state there, surrounded by all the Great Lakes, big bodies of water. But yeah, I lived in Michigan my whole life. And then my parents moved out here about 15 years ago. And then I followed them out a few years after they came out. So I've been here about 12 years or so, 13 maybe. I'm bad at math.
Wow. So when we see that migration to North Dakota, we know it's you.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
You don't hear that move too many times.
Yeah,
like I'm moving to North Dakota. It's like,
and I'll tell you what,
would you like to go to Greenland too?
In Michigan, they have a saying that, April showers bring May flowers. Right. Not here, man. You don't get flowers till almost June. No, it's like, it doesn't feel like we have a summer because we only have like 4.5 months of warm weather,
And then it gets cold. It gets cold.
Real cold. The first year I was here, man, I almost changed my mind. Like, I'd been, like Michigan, you'll get up to 5 feet of snow and it'll get up down to like 0 and maybe -5 with the wind chill, Well, you come out here and you can get like 30 inches of snow dropped on you. It can be -40 degrees, like Arctic Circle type weather. And anyway, I was snowed in for a whole 2 weeks. And I called my parents going stir crazy. I was like, how do you live here? I was like, what do you do? They're like, we shop. We fill our cupboards. I'm like, damn, you have to.
Oh my gosh. Like, it's probably I've seen like the news where they take a boiling like thing of water and throw it out and it freezes in North Dakota.
Now I don't know I haven't done that, but if you take like if it's 40 below out, you put
40 below, y'all. 40 below.
It sounds like bullshit. It's not. We put booties on our dog. I call him Snowshoe Magoo because you know how cats walk weird when their feet they have tape on them or whatever. That's what my dog looks like trying to walk through the snow with these snowshoes on.
Oh my gosh!
But if you take a step out on your porch and you take the deepest breath you can through your nose, it feels like the hairs in your nostrils freeze.
I'm pretty sure they probably do. I'm pretty sure they do. Also, shout out to Ken. How are you? Welcome. Chariot Man Gaming, welcome. And I think we have one more that I don't see now. Lel, how are you? Welcome, Lel. Demon in Destiny 2, welcome. Also, if y'all have a question for SPG, just put it in the chat. Just put something like question for
Super
SPG.
Sitzer, Super Sitzer there. He's from North Dakota, so he said -40 is a good day.
Oh my gosh! Between you, Sierra, and Super Sitzer, I think we have like a third of North Dakota's population on this show. So welcome.
I could throw a rock and hit Jeff in his lawn chair.
Oh my god!
I'm pretty close to Canada.
Oh yeah. Well, no, I don't get me started. I will say this right now. Like North Dakota, I have one issue with North Dakota.
Okay.
Why?
It better be it's cold.
Okay, so I have two. But my thing with it's with North Dakota and South Dakota.
Okay.
Because these are two states. Like, why don't we just have one state called Dakota? Why do we need to
separate it from North and South? Why we gotta have that? Yeah.
There's no war that was fought over it. It's just like, and they became a state on the same day.
It's weird, man.
Like things that make you go, huh? But it has had huge implications throughout history.
It's like that's why people. It's like a bunch of people got together and said, "Let's have a Dakota," and they were like, "No, I don't agree." All right, you'll be South Dakota then.
Yeah, and it's like, it's my biggest thing. It's like just call it Dakota. It's not like North Korea, South. It's just Dakota. But that's my thing. I'm glad to have you here. Shows the diversity of the community.
I'll tell you, people think of North Dakota and they think of the Amish. Well, there's definitely not Amish around here. There's definitely super farms. And what I mean by that is like giant plots of land that's farmed from like bumper to bumper, like as much as they can fit. But I have to say, the people out here are amazing. If you live in a small community, they will take care of you. If the apocalypse happens, zombie or otherwise, for whatever reason, the community out here will take care of each other. So that's the good thing. Although with stuff in the news like Ukraine and stuff, I live by a whole bunch of Minuteman nuclear missile sites. So if there was a first strike, it's happening here first probably. So, but other than that though, North Dakota is fantastic. I love the people. It's great. The weather is awful unless you're here in the summer. Believe it or not, people actually travel here just to hunt. Like,
I believe it.
They have
I'm from Texas,
okay. All right.
No, every girl in Texas knows, first week in October, deer season. So like I know all about hunting everywhere.
Yeah, it's big here. They literally like the waitresses get excited for hunting season because of all the newbies that come into the town and stuff, and they love that time of year. It's literally like a tourist season. I mean, believe it or not. Hey, bring your guns. Come to North Dakota.
Yeah, no, I can imagine. We have in Stadia Cloud Gaming Dad. I'm gonna get to that question, but while we're talking about the 80s and 90s, because that's where we're talking about in his life.
Say, Crow Resin. I wish I could help you, but I'm just going to see a flash, sir.
Yeah, true with the nuclear.
Yeah.
So, Lo-Fi had a question. What was your favorite cartoon from the 80s or 90s?
Oh man, there's so many.
This is a tricky,
and they're not good anymore. They're not good anymore. I've tried to watch a couple of the ones I liked, and they don't hold up very good. The Gummy Bears. I don't know.
Gummy Bears. That's a solid one.
Gummy Bears bouncing here and there and everywhere. I used to watch that, man.
No, that was cool. And they had they would go like the heart, right? Like that was them.
No, that's Care Bears.
Care Bears. Oh my gosh!
No.
Don't crucify me for that one.
Hey, don't clip that. I didn't watch Care Bears now.
Oh my gosh, Care Bears is because I was Care Bears is still a classic. Like the Berenstein Bears.
Bernstein.
I thought it was Beren. Berenstein.
Yeah, it's the Mandela effect. If you don't know what that is, I'll send you a link later.
No, I know it is. But okay. Oh my gosh, you're now making me question everything.
But I liked Captain N, and I liked the old Mario Brothers half cartoon. They had the fat guy that would do the dance, dun, 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 dun. Anyway, and then they would have like a 20-minute or a 15-minute Mario cartoon. I used to like that too. So many old cartoons. Voltron, Thundercats. I mean, come on, man.
Thundercats. That's a good one. I think the 80s was like the peak of cartoons. Like they would draw them, and now we have like all this computer stuff. And
we're too young for Jeff. I should be talking about Mr. Ed.
or Felix the cat.
Yeah.
Jeff's
Lost in Space. Oh, Fraggle Rock, Cloud Gaming Dad. I liked Fraggle Rock, man. That's an interesting show, as a matter of fact. It's actually one of those shows from that time period that actually has a beginning, a middle, and an end, even though it was a procedurally kind of done show. Interesting. And then bonus points to anybody who knows the cartoon movie Flight of the Dragons, one of my favorite cartoon movies of all time. Great movie. You can actually catch it on YouTube if you just put in Flight of the Dragons. All right, so what was your system after how, because I'm trying to get us to cloud gaming. How do we get I know. I'm so sorry. I keep back but all right, so this pen pal, he had a Super Nintendo. So when I went and stayed at his house, he had the Super Gun, and we also played Nintendo too. That's where I played Go-Go 13. If you haven't played that weird game, check it out for Nintendo. But he had the big bazooka thing, like the shooter gun for the Super Nintendo, and he had all of these games that came with it, and I didn't like any of them. He's like so excited to show me this, and I'm putting it on, and well, I wanted the zapper anyway. I mean, if it would have been like Duck Hunt 2.0 and it had more ducks or two dogs, I'd have been like, this is great. Yeah, but anyway, so I didn't like the I forget what it was called, but it was very large, and so I didn't get the Super Nintendo for like I played Nintendo for another 4 years almost. I then got the Super Nintendo, and then quickly, I was going to like the Sega CD and stuff like that.
All compressed right in that timeline.
Yeah, I've had a lot of consoles. Played that for a while. I ended up with a 3DO. Which was amazing for the time. I mean, it was outrageously priced when it first came out, but I got it was the very last stock that Best Buy had, so I got it for like $125, and games were $10 for it at the time. So I bought a couple of awesome ones. Way of the Warrior was one of them that had a if you know Rob Zombie, it's back when he was in the band White Zombie. It had that as a soundtrack. The More Human Than Human song. I don't know if you ever heard that.
I'll have to. I'm sure I've heard it. I'm horrible at song names, celebrity names, movie names. I just describe things, and people help me figure out what they are.
So, but that was kind of a. I wasn't looking for like the latest generation. I just was like, ooh, I never had a 3DO. I'll never play these games if I don't get it now. So, I grabbed it up and enjoyed those games. But my favorite, I think, of all time, my most respected is the PS3, but I think my favorite is the Dreamcast.
Okay.
The Sega Dreamcast is underrated, let me tell you.
Isn't that the one that ended them all?
Yeah, it was the last Sega one. It was.
Is that is, right? Like,
well, Sega stomped on their own foot. They came out with the Saturn, and then within 6 months, the Dreamcast hit.
Right.
And the Dreamcast was evolutionary leaps and bounds above that Saturn, like leaps and bounds. It was amazing.
Oh my gosh, I'm getting roasted here. David Wilson, you're right. But in Lel, it's so funny. We have Jeff and Lel, like two polar opposite ends of the
Hey, Lel, if Jeff is yelling at you, it's because you're on his lawn.
Two totally opposite. I saw you Whit come in. How's it going? So Sega Dream. What game on Sega Dreamcast?
Ooh, loved Crazy Taxi. There's a whole bunch of good ones. There's I can't remember the name. There's an awesome RPG that I played. They had a little gimmick to where you could put a little memory card into your controller, and then certain games, like if you had to take care of an animal in the game, you could pop it out and like feed it on the go, or not and let it die. I've had that happen before. Seaman. It's not a popular game by any stretch.
I can imagine why it's not a popular name.
It's called Seaman, SEAMAN, and it was like an aquarium, and you had a microphone attachment that you'd have to plug into where the memory card goes, and you'd talk to it, and eventually this fish that would go around the aquarium would grow a human head, and then talk to you. And Leonard Nimoy narrated it. I mean, eventually this fish would insult you and stuff, and then eventually once it hit its evolutionary thing, it would leave the aquarium and basically be like, "I'm out of here." Yeah, it was an amazing little game.
It's amazing. I always wonder what influenced these games. Was it like an Alice in Wonderland type of deal? Where the guy was high on opium the whole time, and they're like, "I know a game, Seaman."
Somebody wanted an interactive fish tank, I think, and that's what they made. They literally did.
Oh my gosh, that's cool. So obviously, you eventually went from this PS3. That's actually an interesting PS3. Yeah, that's the first one because it introduced Blu-ray, right? That's the one that.
Yes, what it did is the PS3 revolutionized what I thought a gaming machine could be. It was a media server. It was everything. the entertainment that you could possibly want. If you had movies on your hard drive, connect it through the network, and now your PS3 was playing movies that are on your computer across the room, without long as it was plugged into the internet over your network. I thought that was revolutionary. I literally got rid of cable. I haven't had cable since the PS3, like for real. I haven't.
So you believe the PS3 was one of the first things that cut the cord?
Yes, absolutely. For me, absolutely. And then
I never thought of it that way.
And then all the streaming sites came out, and bam, I was on that because that's what I was really waiting for. Because I just thought that all these places, man, they're greedy. Like, give me one price for all the TV stuff that I want without commercials, and then give me all the TV stuff that I want with commercials. Give me both prices. I'll gladly pay one. I don't want to do piracy in any way, but give me the option. And at the time, there was no option like that at all. It was, tune in at the time, watch the commercials, and way too much brainwashing for me. Way too much.
Just too much.
Yeah, man. For the people that are overseas in the UK, there's a vast difference between our commercials and yours. We'll literally have somebody come on and go, "You should try Cymbalta. Are you sad? Talk to your doctor." No, that's not how it's supposed to work. Your doctor's supposed to go, "Hey, I noticed that you're not so perky. What's up? What's going on?" And then you have a conversation, and then they're like, "Hey, maybe you should try this." No, our commercials tell you what to go ask your doctor about. It's just messed up. Sorry to get on a little back rant.
No worries. And Hutch, thanks for stopping by. As always, if y'all didn't know, Hutch is a new person to the Stadia community recently. Go just check out his channel. Great guy. And Geek the Sneak, welcome. So PS3, and then I'm assuming, did you ever have Xbox, or was it?
Yes. I stood in line for a PS2, and I missed that system. My puppy was sick. I had to return it to get aid and everything for him. But I got the PS3. And I did get the Xbox. I stood in line for that. I had to get Halo, man. Halo looked amazing, and it was everything I hoped it would be. I didn't own a Nintendo 64 when it came out, but a bunch of my friends did.
Oh, that's good. It's the same thing.
I got it later. I did get it later. But I didn't have it at the time. Like I said, I was behind a little bit. But yeah, so Xbox, I'd never had an Xbox One. I don't think I had a 360. PS3 was pretty much the last competitive system that I actually played on. They had a game called Battlefield 2, and I really liked playing that game.
I've heard about Battlefield 2. I was actually just talking to someone earlier this week about Battlefield 2.
Yeah, Battlefield 2 Bad Company is what it's called. It's really good.
Okay, so how did you go? So it sounds like you were really a console person. Mm-hmm. And I know you still play a lot of consoles. And we're going to get to some of the your shows and everything where you talk about some of that. But what led you to the cloud gaming community? Because I know you played several.
So,
your Stadia Pro Gaming. How did we get here? How did we get the name? How?
Okay, well, that's how I got into cloud gaming in general is I bought an NVIDIA Shield way back, the 2017 model, which was kind of big. It was a little bigger. I bought one of those and then upgraded to the new box. But I bought one of those, and they had a thing on there called Game Stream. It wasn't streaming like GeForce Now, which I did start that. But I could my PC was further away from the TV than I liked, and I could turn on the Shield and stream the game running on my PC, and it would send it over the network, the video to the TV with very little latency. So I played a lot of games that way from my PC, and then GFN came out. So I was grandfathered into that because I had purchased the Shield, and you send your email in, and you didn't have to pay anything, and you were like in the beta testing phase with it or whatever. And they offered up at that point, GFN offered up anything in your Steam library was pretty much compatible. It would just log into Steam, and then any game you had, you could play in the cloud. And oh my God, did I like that. It wasn't running on my PC. I didn't have to worry about heat, fans running from across the room, or anything like that. and it worked. And I was, it wasn't flawless by any means, but it worked, and I was excited for it. I played all the Arkham games, or whichever ones they had on there at the time. The latest one wasn't out, but I played through all the old ones, and I enjoyed it. And then I found out that Google was going to have this summit, and they were going to discuss their Project Stream, I believe it was called.
That's what it was.
And I got excited. I said, "Oh wow!" So they're copying GFN, is what I thought at the time. They're totally different, knowing now. But at the time, I thought, "Oh, well, shit! If Google can do it, and or if GFN can do it, NVIDIA, if they can do it, and it's this good, and they've got hardly any servers, if Google invests, this is going to be a no-brainer, So I sat, I watched this thing, and they showed the server blades and the locations around the world. They showed the infrastructure that they were willing to commit to make this a reality. And then they showed all the stuff that could be, to ask Google to help you with this level, the assistant. Most of these things have been implemented, not that yet, but they showed all these cool things. But what really stuck with me was the server blade locations. I was like, man, if NVIDIA can do this, Google can do it too. So I was super stoked. I went to my D&D table, and we had like 7 guys at the time. I told all of them, hey man, Google's coming with this cloud gaming. And only one of them, Super Sitzer, was like, yeah, hey, that could be good. The rest of them were like, latency, internet's not good. The root, all the talking points. So so most of them said, nah. So anyway, give a little bit of time. I give my pre-order up, and I finally get my hands on Google Stadia, and I turn it on. Now I had the Chromecast and I had the controller. I turn it on. I play 2 minutes of Destiny 2. I run around. I start shooting. I fight a couple people. I turn around, leap, glide a little bit. I'm like, yep, this is gold. I turn around and bought Red Dead 2. Because I wasn't interested in Destiny at the time. But Red Dead 2 I was, because the graphics card I had at the time was a 970. Now, a GTX 970 would most definitely play Red Dead 2, but it would not play it at the standard I wanted it to. I couldn't play it at 1440p and have the visuals that I was getting off of Stadia, because the card's kind of dated at this point. So I bought Red Dead 2, and I was off to the races. And how I got my name? Well, I immediately, after I started to fall in love with Stadia, I figured, wow, man, well, a lot of other people are experiencing this, and they're gonna love it too. I hadn't had a system since the PS3. I played PC, but I didn't do multiplayer games. I don't want to be screamed at. Like, the last gaming experience I had online was 12-year-olds teabagging me and screaming at me, like in Battlefield 2. So Stadia was a breath of fresh air for me. So I turned to YouTube, and I went to my favorite content creators for wisdom or thoughts, or their thoughts on what Stadia was and where it may go. And dude, absolutely everyone took a giant steamy shit all over Stadia, all over it. And not only were they like if they would have came up and said, Stadia's not for me, man. Okay, cool. But they lied about it. Oh, Stadia doesn't work. Literally, Dreamcast guy. That dude made me scream at my TV. He said, I don't want to quote him, but it was basically like, Stadia does not function. It just doesn't work, is what he was saying. And I'm like, I'm playing Red Dead 2, man, having a blast. I'm grinding gold. What are you talking about? So I had to, because I hadn't watched cable in so long, I had built a YouTube following. Not my following, but, they were my channels I'd watch, And I didn't always agree with them, but I thought their opinions mattered to me in some way. And then all these content creators just started shitting and lying and jumping on the bandwagon of clickbait. Because I'm a fan, or not a fan, but I played Fallout 76. And Fallout 76 got a bad rep. It did have a shitty launch, but people started to get clicks from shitting on it. So everybody shit on it, and they continued doing it for years. That I didn't want that to happen with Stadia. I was worried because I went back to my D&D table and said, hey man, Stadia works. It's great. It's awesome. 3 people at the table were like, well, I heard this and I heard that. And I said, well, they're full of shit. I said, come to my house. We started doing D&D at my house, and I handed each of them a controller to actually play. And the proof is in the playing. 3 of them signed up that are Stadia members now. Super Sitzer's one of them. Bad Karma, Brad Towell, he's another one. I don't know. So my name came from me watching these content creators and getting pissed off. There was no good Stadia content out there. So I was like, well, I guess I'll have to do it. I'm going to make clips. I'll call out these haters. I'm going to basically what your boy Twiz did. That's the type of content I was looking to do. And I didn't want to do it, but somebody had to. I felt like, not that I need to stick up for Google. They got plenty of people who can do that. They don't need my voice, and I don't get any money from them at all. But don't shit on a product and want it to fail when it actually works. Like, not for you, cool deal. Give us real reasons why it didn't work for you or why this or that, but don't make stuff up. So I came up with Stadia Pro Gaming because of Stadia Pro, of course. And my name is William Scott Piper, SPG, SP, So I designed it in a way, if Google ever came to me and gave me a cease and desist, I could go, well, all right, it's not, Stadia Pro Gaming, it's Scott Piper Gaming. But so basically I used a little bit of my initials and
nice.
But originally that's what I was going to do. I was going to overlay my voice over content and bash these people who were taking a dump on Stadia for no reason. Gladly, your boy Twiz came out and he started making content. Sonny, bless his heart, he started making content. The Nerd Nest guys, bless their heart, they started doing content. I had a place to go for and I felt good about that. So I stopped following those other people. Like their opinions were just opinions. They actually didn't hold any water, and it didn't mean anything. So I adjusted my viewing habits at that point, and I ran into Ray Sherrod, and this is how I got into streaming.
Ray's in the chat.
Yeah.
And shout out to Suave. I saw you earlier, Suave. I haven't missed you. But go ahead.
So I ran into Ray Sherrod, his channel. He had a thing of Yang Ye, and I can't remember which one it was. He's got a couple of them where he made fun of Yang Ye, but it had like In the Arms of an Angel playing, and Yang Ye with a weird face shaking his head because Stadia got an exclusive. Oh, it was the exclusive demo for Phoenix Rising, and the only place you could play it was Stadia. And he threw a fit. He was like, Stadia, why would you do that? Like, anyway, and Ray made a joke of it. And I put on underneath that, I was like, wow, that was funny. You earned yourself a sub, is what I put there. And he hearted it and replied back. And I was like, hey, this content creator's cool. So the next time he streamed, I popped in.
He liked my comment. You're cool.
Yeah. Well, he was willing to communicate with his viewers. You know what I mean? Some places
I'm seeing a connection. Did y'all see this connection when SPG was a kid and he found the pen pal who had like games? You're my best friend. So
Ray, I'm coming to your house, buddy. I hope you have a free couch.
Go ahead, Cuke. Sorry about that.
Oh man. So I popped into Ray's stream, and the only thing I had on my channel was a couple of Red Dead clips of my horse being an ass and trying to kill me. And I was watching his stream, and he did something funny, and he cracked up, and I thought his humor would match with my clip. So I was like, Ray, if you ever want to see something funny, just check out this clip, a clip of mine on my channel. Ray stopped the whole stream, and he's like, hey, everybody, SPG, or not SPG, he said Stadia Pro Gaming, he's a content creator. So you go over and you show him support and check out his content.
Nice,
and I was
Ray.
like, oh, shit, I don't have content, bro. I guess I'm gonna have to make some, so I did.
So that's how you came to be Stadia Pro Gaming. I love that because you're one of the people who I first one of the content creators I first kind of interacted with back when we kind of had the Rainbow Six crew there for a second, where we would come in and play on the weekends, and then we started doing it every day. And met Ray there as well. And so I love how that all came together because it's definitely part of that community.
Yeah, the Stadia community is fantastic, man. I haven't felt like this good about the people I've been gaming with in decades. Like, for real. The kids I could go to school with and argue with, and then have a really cool game at their house, and then the next weekend they're at my house. Like, that's the type of relationship that I feel I have with the Stadia community. And I love that. Maybe it's because all of us are a little older that came back to gaming in some way, or it's the ease of use. I don't know what it is, but my hat goes off to Stadia for the type of people that they're bringing in.
No, I totally agree. And what's up, Simpleton? How are you? No, Simpleton likes apples. Y'all will see a clip eventually about why that is. But no, I think that's awesome. And also, shout out to Real Certified Doc. Doctor, I met him there. I remember he was like, for a while, it was Jim who could just like dominate us in Rainbow Six. And then Certified Doctor came and just like flipped the script, Tricks, all of the Nimbus. Such great times with those players.
But Certified's played that game a decade, though. Almost a decade.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yes. I mean, I think we had Agent Zoe. I think there was a couple of people we may have could push him, but Certified, you definitely are part of a wonderful addition to the community. And speaking of great additions to the community, I told you she was going to come up, and I really like how she's integrated. I got to play with her on Monday in RecFest, but Mrs. SPG, I think you know her.
Yes, she's my beautiful wife. She's not a big gamer, but she loves games like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2, even 3. She loves like the old Grand Theft Auto 3. That type. She knows codes for that game. But she's not a very big gamer. She likes playing on Stadia because she can play games on her lunch break from her phone. Reigns is one of the games she plays. And if you're not familiar with Reigns, it's a small game, but it's a text-based game, and you make choices, and based on your choices is how long you and your kingdom survive. And horrible stuff can happen to you. Horrible choices can be made. It's an interesting game, but she really loves that, and she certainly loves joining all the guys on RecFest. She's mentioned it on multiple times that the community is so fantastic, and she was just so surprised that she could jump in with my friends, well, quote unquote, my friends in the game, and not get harassed, be welcomed with open arms. She'd never experienced anything like that. So she's infatuated with the Stadia community. So now if you pop into my streams, she's whenever she's available, she's there greeting people and thanking you for coming by and trying to find out how your day's been. It's just, it's an amazing community, and we both are thankful for it, man. We've met a lot of really good people. A lot.
No, it's great people. And Mrs. SVG, I love talking when she's in chat. Just a great, I think the cool thing about the Stadia community is obviously it's first, all of us have some connection to Stadia. Some of us play it more than not. Some of us don't even really play it at all. But I think it's just a great community for so many different things. Funny story about, so my boss at work, he came and watched one of my shows, and he has this vision of gamers as like this toxic culture and stuff, and he was just surprised at how supportive the community was. It like blew his mind. It like made him like question everything he knew about gaming. So I totally agree on that.
Well, when I first started streaming, I was prepared. I was like, all right, there's going to be trolls. This is going to be hectic. I never really experienced that. I put the thick skin on just in case, but nobody popped in like, what is wrong with that large head of yours? What are you doing? Like, never got any of that. So, but I'm loving the community though. Like virtually everyone that I've met, I would go have coffee with, like for sure.
For sure. No, I definitely. Well, it's around that time. I love as for you. I'm going to be talking to you quite a bit, but I just have one quick question. I got two questions. One's a
Yeah,
quick
shoot.
one, and that is, you've played Stadia. If there's one thing you could change about Stadia, the platform, the games, something added or whatnot, what would it be?
Oh man. If I could change something, I would if I would make them go after the big dogs and compete. They have the money. They have the money. Hey, you think our server blade's weak? We have two of them. We'll plug them together. Now we have even more power. Like, I don't know. I am not Stadia. I'm not a fly on the wall. I don't know what they're doing, but when I got excited for the cloud because of the no hardware thing, and their promise is fulfilled. No hardware, man. You can play on any browser and any screen. But I really I lost my train of thought. I'm sorry. Ask the question again.
No, what you would change, and you said you want to go after the big dogs.
The marketing and their approach. They're going after the stragglers necessarily. The people, they're not trying to get the people that are already in Xbox. They think that that's too hard of a get for them. I think, marketing wise and stuff like that. But when they first hit the market, because of no hardware and everything else, I wanted them to go after the big dogs and compete. GFN now has the 3080 tier. I wish that Google would invest and say, hey, we got a version 2. You want to pay $15 a month? And I know that, but that's what I would change. I know people would change maybe more games coming and stuff, but that stuff will come. Cloud gaming is going to be here for the foreseeable future, man. I think it is the future. I think one day that the corporations are going to go, why am I going to build 10,000 of these boxes or 10 million of them and have a bunch come back and have to deal with this and that? And nope, we'll just put 1 million on our server racks and we'll maintain them. I really think that's the way of the future. And as stable and as good as the tech is for Stadia, I mean, there's no going back for me. No downloads. I mean, come on. But I if I was going to change anything, I would have changed their marketing thing. I would have came out like John Cena, ba da da da, but that's just me.
No, that's fair. And Cloudy V coming in with the Monkey Boy as well, and bringing us up to Cloudy V/Monkey Boy. Where can people usually find you, and then what special things going on this Saturday?
Oh yeah, we have a Stadia community event coming up on the 14th. I'm streaming from 12 CST to 2 p.m. CST. But the whole day is filled with streamers. Ray and Rock are doing a Ray's Praise event. There's so many, man. I think Cloudy V is going to be doing a MotoGP race, I believe, or a few matches in that. I'm doing PUBG, by the way. I think I forgot to mention that. But yeah, there's going to be a whole day filled with a heck of a lot of fun. So if you're part of the Stadia community or just want to see a community and how it has fun with each other, come hang out. I think you'll be surprised, like your boss was.
No, definitely, and compete a little bit. But you're on a lot of stuff besides that. So where else can they find you throughout the week?
Oh, yeah. Well, you can find me at my channel, Stadia Pro Gaming. They're on YouTube.
Below. It's down below. I linked it.
I stream Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. And then every Tuesday, I'm on it with Stadia Rock, with the Rock brand over there at YouTube. With Ray, he's a host, and John Scar.
Amazing show. Great show.
And then every other Sunday at 2 p.m. CST, we do Retro Rewind, where we discuss a whole bunch of topics like we did earlier in the beginning of the interview. And then also every Tuesdays and Thursdays, I do Man Cave with the Climax, Suave Polo. Shout out to Suave.
Yes. And then you also do playthroughs during the week. Sometimes you're playing Wreckfest, sometimes you're doing Rainbow Six, sometimes with the community. So definitely, you can always, SVG is definitely one of those pillars. I'm so happy to have you on the show. And for me, you all, I'll be here on Thursdays. Let me know if you want me to start a little bit later so I can get my purple haze. It's too bright when I start now. Tomorrow I'll be on Cloudy Thoughts. Lo-Fi Monk, talking about all the gaming news and just having a great time. Y'all know how it is. Real chill time. This Saturday, I'll be part of the Super Saturday Stadia Day playing Mortal Kombat 11 Ultimate. So if you want to go up against an above average button masher, let me know.
I have to give one more shout out, and it's a shout out for you too, Purple. Cloudy V and Purple here are going to be going head to head on Game Over, which is Ryzak is an old. Yeah, you're old, Ryzak. He's an elderly statesman content creator. Anyway, he kind of retired from making content, but he had this awesome show called Game Over. It's a Stadia game show. This is also something that's going to be on at 9 a.m. CST on the 14th. I'm one of the hosts, but it is definitely Ryzak's baby. Pop into that. He would be overjoyed to see all of you because he hasn't been active in the community in a while, but he definitely loves it, and he would love to see you. I would love to see you. And so, yeah, there's that.
Yeah, no, I think Cloudy, I don't know how this is going to go because Cloudy V and I have like similar thought processes on everything. He's like one of my favorite people to talk to because it's like, that's a great idea because it's like we have the same thing. So I think Cloudy V, it's going to be fun. I'm just happy to be there. But knowing the questions, I actually think no matter what, we're the losers and the hosts are the winners because the questions are ridiculously hard. It just is like national holiday type of question.
I got a sneak peek at them. Yeah, they're not easy.
No, they're not. Oh my gosh. So, well, thank you all so much for coming by and just spending some time with us. As always, it's about building community. It's about, we're all gamers. We're all trying to have fun while we're on this rock together. And I am just so happy to meet all of you. But once again, I'm Purple Haze, and the proof is in the playing. All right. Thanks, y'all.